Yo, MP.
Yeah, no, this map is actually crazy, I'm not gonna lie.
Water, man.
Yo, hey Scott, what the hell are you doing, bro? We got a match, bro, you're late.
Yo, I gotta go.
Yo, log in, bro.
Yo, I gotta go. Now I'm good.
Well, hello everybody, and good evening as we are back here in the St. Clair Nexus. I'm Patrick Smoke Chambers, joined by Evan Johnson. Evan, how are we feeling tonight? We got some NACE RL going on as St. Clair looking to take on Shawnee State.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting game tonight. This is a rematch of a CRL matchup that we saw a couple weeks ago on a Sunday when the CRL was getting underway. So the Saints, this is a familiar opponent for them. So hopefully they're going to be able to take care of their business tonight. But Shawnee does have some players that can make a big impact. We were talking about Taco Stash extensively before the show starts. So I think he's really going to be a player that the Saints are going to have to keep in tabs and keep track of tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Taco Stash being the main one of the three that we were talking about, the other two being Spooky and Slayer. Taco Stash, the star in our opinion. We were looking back at the VOD actually through that CRL matchup, and we noted that Taco Stash through the first 3 games of that best of 5 had 100% goal participation for every goal that Shawnee State scored. So, again, he is an offensive powerhouse, whether he's shooting, whether he's passing. The whole point is he's getting it done, and I sort of noticed that Taco Stash is also really good at picking out the Saints' passing plays, especially when St. Clair kind of like to stretch the field a little bit and can leave themselves in really risky counterattack scenarios. Taco Stash is really good at being aware of where to be at the wrong time for St. Clair and being able to pick off the passes that they try to send out forward. So as we now are getting word, we have an interview ready, and it's going to be Barrist. Tommaso, how you doing tonight, man?
Hi, all good, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing good,
Pretty
and
good.
Again, you guys up against Shawnee State. What are the expectations tonight for yourself, Barrist? I know, sitting back watching the starters go crazy, but I will say for you as well, right? You look at NACE, you look at CRL. When you see this team, what does the future hold?
3-0.
3-0.
So-
Nice, quick, fast. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a little nap in between.
Wow. Okay.
That's insane
Hey,
confidence considering
I-
you guys threw a game last time you all met, but that's okay. It's neither
Yeah,
here
I
nor
was
there.
gonna say that kind of leads into my question. I mean, like you said, this is a familiar opponent for you guys. You saw them in CRL. They were able to take a map off of you. You were able to get your business done, but these guys still have the ability to surprise you. So, did you guys do any extra preparation? Did you guys do some VOD reviewing to prepare for this match, or? I mean, it sounds like you're fairly confident, but I want to hear it from you directly.
No, yeah, we are very confident about this game, this matchup. Like you said, they have like a pretty decent players like Taco Stash, but come on, we have the 3 world champions like for CRL. So if
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get
if we
it.
lose one game, I'm gonna like yell at them. And also, Ario is gonna go crazy. Like today, he has a huge buff. I brought him to the gym for the first time.
Has he been doom
And-
scrolling as well?
What?
Has he been doom scrolling pre-match as well? Because that usually, that helped him out.
Oh
during the
yeah,
CRL
no,
tournament
no,
as
no.
well.
Yeah, he also did that, but
Okay.
like the gym, especially like with the best personal trainer he could have, like me, he's gonna go crazy. Trust me.
Hey, he's locked in. That's good to hear. I do want to speak specifically about the fact that, last time they did take a game off of you, right? So you obviously being connected to the team very closely, when you saw that they bottled the match for Shawnee State, what were you thinking? Did you think at that point for CRL, it was all over, chalk it, George Mason's going to have their way with us, Boise going to have their way with us because we can't even get this done in 3-0 fashion? What was the thought process going into it?
Honestly, I'm used to it. Like they have been doing this for over a year now, I think. Like they always have to concede at least like one game in every series they play. But in the end, they get the W. We get to bring the W at home. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just saying, you would think with enough yelling, right? Like it would.
no, I
It
honestly.
just doesn't click for these guys.
Like if I would be the coach instead of Luca, I would yell at them like 24/7. But Luca is too soft.
Wow. A lot of information being revealed about
Yeah.
our Rock League varsity team tonight. Barris, I'll give you one more question. Just about you. I mean, you don't get to see the spotlight as much as some of the other stars on this team, but you still feel a pretty important role, being that 4th man on the bench, just being that support for the rest of the team. Like, how important do you take this job of yours? Like, how big is it to be able to know that you can support your teammates on every step of their journey?
I mean, I kind of take it seriously. Like I don't think you can find a sub that plays that much as I do. Like, I mean, I don't have like over 100 hours of like past 2 weeks on Rocket League, but still I have my, like 40, around 40, like between ranked 2v2s and 6-mans. So I take my position like seriously, and I'm also like a great like emotive support. I'm the funniest one in the team, so.
Yeah, we can tell.
Oh, yeah, no, most definitely. I would say, Barris, thank you very much. Good luck to you guys tonight.
Thank you,
Should
guys.
be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to hear from Bears from time to time. Tommaso, we love him here at St. Clair, and, well, you can clearly see why. The guy's just kind of funny without even trying to be. It's just kind of goes
Well, I
naturally.
mean, he said it. He said he was the funniest guy on the team, and
yeah.
I mean, I might have to believe him, but no, like it's so important when you have those guys who like you said, Barris might not get the spotlight as much as like Sai or Arju or Jazzy, right? But these support players, these subs on the bench, they're so important. Like you said, for keeping team morale, he helps out almost as like an assistant coach, right? These roles are so important, and you can tell it's a very well-built team. And we're taking a look at this well-built team right now. Arju, Sai, Jazzy, Barris said these are CRL champions we got on the squad here. So why wouldn't they feel confident going into any matchup that's before them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I think that when we're talking about confidence, this team exudes that because sometimes they're just throwing a game, right, or even 2 sometimes. And we go to player cams, and these guys are just laughing, having a blast. Like, it's it's really good. A series is really good when you go back to their player cams, no matter what a win or loss, and it's just long faces. Like, that's when okay, this actually means something to them. Not that the other series don't, but when they're laughing, it's almost like, oh, wow, funny, haha, they got one on us. Now we're just going to turn on completely and crush them. So, again, I think that looking back at the Shawnee matchup, yes, there were gaps in their offense that obviously Taco Stash and company were able to exploit. But when you look at it the other way around, listen, they still got the job done in 3-1 fashion, and for those other 3 games, they were fairly dominant. And when you really look at the possession numbers as well, if that was something that I could track, I mean, watching back the VOD, it just seemed like Shawnee State were just out of their element.
No, they really weren't. I mean, there is a big skill discrepancy. I mean, like we said, these are CRL champions that we're talking about. You know, like the squad like has the potential to go far, and they have shown what they're capable of, you know, so far. And again, this is another step in that journey, another step towards a NACE championship. But Shawnee State, the current foe in their path, and St. Clair slay another giant.
Well, we're about to see here is, honestly, Shawnee State might be the David in this situation, as Arju now following this one back. He has a long way to go and is actually going to miss this one off. It's called off there for Jazz. Who's going to lay this one up for Zai. Nice little touch around the back. Should be able to find a double, if not a pass. Arju there, but Slayer just able to extend his hand in time.
Yeah, great start for St. Clair. That's a classic Arju Sai setup right there they're going for. Great job for Shawnee to rotate and execute a play there. Once again, that's Taco Stash being involved in every single major play for Shawnee State. St. Clair is really going to have to make sure they have a game plan to shut him down if they want to get some momentum building in this series.
Yeah, and again, Taco Stash, right, cutting the passing lane, is immediately able to try to find a shot. If that one doesn't get blocked out, Spooky. A decent demo clears with the back line for Slayer, but with low boost, I was going to say, Taco Stash is going to have to be the one to try to respond. Another huge 50 and a dunk as well. So trying to find some room to operate here for Shawnee is now Slayer. Trying to get this one down through the midfield as Taco Stash extending through, running interference, finds a demo, but no shooter online from Spooky's pass. So now Arju back to the drawing board on offense. He tries this one high. It's going to be popped down low for Jazzy in a follow-up attempt, but no, Slayer there to meet him.
Yeah, since that first attempt that St. Clair had, they really haven't been a lot of opportunities to get another chance. Shawnee has done a really good job at locking down their defense and cutting off these rotations for St. Clair and just being annoying on every single facet of the game so far. They're just being that thorn in the side and trying to be patient. Slayer almost had one there, but Sai, heroic save for St. Clair to keep this one at 0. But again, Shawnee, this is what we saw in the CRL series. You know, they have the potential to hang around, and if you're not careful, they can sneak a series or a map off of you, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about playing annoying. Did you not see when the observers saw last play? I believe it was Spooky and Slayer literally chasing Zai into his own corner. Not only for a boost steal, but just to try to bump him so Taco Stash could get the shot off again, right? They know what St. Clair hate to play against, and you know, it makes it a little bit of a tougher opponent sometimes, as they definitely look like they've shared pretty equal possession numbers. If anything, I'd give Shawnee State probably the lead on that one as Arju. Reset, pass down to Zai, but at the same time, sometimes you just need to be clinical with your possession. As long as you can do that, that's what wins Rocket League games. As Arju, proving my point, a follow-up shot, a beauty as he slots it bottom left.
Once again, Taco Stash involved in another big play. I mean, that really gets set up by it ricocheting off the front of his car and then right back to the Saints. So, I mean, that's a blessing right there for St. Clair. They will definitely take it. They finally get something on the board, but we saw last time that Shawnee was able to respond quickly, so they had to keep the ball away from Taco Stash and Spooky. That's that 1-2 combo punch for Shawnee that has been so effective for them. So let's see if St. Clair can really lock down on defense and maybe add a couple of insurance goals to make sure that lead stays in their favor.
Absolutely is now. Jazzy and company looking to work on that. That's a beautiful fake by Jazzy and Zai. With open arms, willing to accept that center ball for a shot, as now Arju just had to look and watch at the greatness that was the duo from EU, from Germany, from Austria. These boys looking so good from Dr. Boom, and as they're now up 2-0 and they establish their safety net. Shawnee State, see if they can even answer back. It's almost another follow-up opportunity for Jazzy, as now Shawnee struggling to try to get out of their back line.
Yeah, you talk about that safety net, and now the Saints can feel like they could be a bit more aggressive and try and go for more of these flashy plays. You saw Arju trying to get something out there, but Shawnee was just able to defend against it. So back to the drawing board for St. Clair, but up to minute 37 to go. You don't need to be that fancy. I think anything right now would just be bonus and extra. You just have to make sure you don't get too aggressive or overextend too much. This is a problem we see sometimes. Sometimes they don't lock in enough, or they take the foot off the gas pedal, but doesn't matter there, as Jazzy does get one back to extend that lead. So far, they haven't let up on the gas pedal.
Right, I mean, great pass from Arju. He's going to try to then run interference. Taco Stash gets up, but for Jazzy, if you can't find a gap, just go through the guy, as that's exactly what he's going to do. Just so much power on the shot, and it's going to send St. Clair up 3. A quick kickoff as well as now Jazzy. Following in support, has a boost steal, as now Arju is going to be able to lay a shot on, but in the counterattack, Zai, really calm and composed. Good to see there as St. Clair showing that they definitely have worked a little bit on improving their defense when they send 2 up.
No, and that's one of the big things that other teams have exploited on St. Clair. They do like to run these two-man setup plays, usually Arju or Sai, you know, trying to get a flip reset in the sky and just set up for a dunk, and that leaves you exposed in the back line. Like, if you miss that and somebody has boost on the other side, that's really, you know, a problem if you're trying to rotate back on defense, especially if you don't have a lot of boost to work with potentially. So one thing the Saints are going to have to keep an eye out for, but so far hasn't been too much of an impact. The defense so far tonight has been pretty rock solid. Shawnee has had a couple of opportunities, but nothing super serious as the Saints have been able to get back in time. But there is still a lot of series to play, is still a lot of broccoli to be played. So they just have to make sure they stay locked on all levels and all facets of this series tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, I think something that St. Clair struggles with sometimes, as they aren't struggling right now, is, you know this series is going to be a quick one if St. Clair come out the gate firing on all cylinders. I feel like St. Clair is a team sometimes that plays down to their opponent's level, has a little bit of that as a bad habit, sometimes trolls a little bit too often in the early stages. If they're coming out of the gates firing on all cylinders, you know it's going to be a good series for them, as now Shawnee State, one last effort to see if they can find anything for consolation, but it will not be that. Instead, Spooky picking off this final passing attempt. Ball goes net wide, but it will not find any result, as now Shawnee State down 1-0 in this best-of-5 series, as the boys going back to the player cams seeming all good, joyful, gleeful, as Arju goes straight to doom scrolling.
I was gonna say that's the post-game reward, just a quick hit of Twitter or any, you know, his social media.
And look, I mean, he's right back locked in.
I mean, there you go. That's all you got to do. You
anything in moderation.
Got to check the DMs and then put it right back down. But I really liked what you said about the Saints coming out firing. That's really what I was hoping to see. I mean, you know, we talked about how these guys met in CRL a couple weeks ago, and Shawnee was able to catch them lacking on one of the games. So hopefully the Saints took that seriously. It's like, guys, like, we know we're better than these guys. We know we can dominate these guys. Let's prove that tonight. So far, it's been a good showing for St. Clair.
Right, I mean, even when they weren't losing games, the whole point is they were conceding multiple goals, right, to them, and in bad spots of the game, too. I mean, spots where we thought Shawnee State would have had a chance of taking the game off of them, but this time around, very much the opposite. Sai, off the ceiling, uses the flip to force the pass to a pre-jumping Arju, and it really is just beautiful to watch, isn't it? These multiplayer aerial plays, aerial attacks from St. Clair, they've been so good at doing them, and we always know when it comes to a little bit of tiki-taka in the air, St. Clair are definitely ones to oblige.
Well, that's their calling card, right? I mean, this whole offense is this boom or bust system here. Oh, almost adding another one, but Taco Stash with another big save, or Spooky, I should say, with the final touch. But Shawnee a little bit wiser to the plays of St. Clair, but well, like we said, this penchant for these aerial plays is so strong for them, and they can hit you on any side. They can hit you in the air, they can hit you on the ground. Arju getting it done on the ground this time with a quick strike. 2-0 for the Saints, and again, looking very dominant to start this series.
Right, I mean, again, the boost steals, so important to point out for St. Clair. I mean, that's a low shot with power, and at the same time, you would think usually players of Shawnee State's caliber, you know, they get to that, but note both defenders on pretty much next to nothing running off of fumes, and that's because for St. Clair, their first man rotations, they're cutting through, they're stealing boost, they're trying to find insane dunks like that from Jazzy. They're doing everything they can to make sure that Shawnee State is awkward on defense, but Just like that, we talked about the counterattack strength of Shawnee State earlier and the weakness of St. Clair in that regard, and it's a beautiful play from Taco Stash. Finding the pass, gets the demo as well, and it's going to be Spooky with the finish.
Yeah, once again, he's just involved in every big play for Shawnee State. You know, it all starts with that demo, and that sets up the Shawnee goal. I mean, if you can shut down Taco Stash, you should be okay for the rest of the series. You just have to make sure he can't get cooking too much, because like we said, we saw it in CRL. When you let them cook and you give them time to just, you know, stay on their own devices and just have a chance to stay in the series, they can burn you, and St. Clair has to be aware of this, and they just have to just wipe that goal off the slate and just continue on and try and stay as dominant as you have been for the majority of this series so far.
Yeah, I was going to say before that, right, Zai got cut off, and I was about to say when Zai is downfield waiting in that top third of the pitch and they're trying to find that pass out, you better intercept it or else it's definitely looking to be a redirect, as now Zai off the backboard won't be able to find very much, as now Jazzy trying to see if he can get a shooter online, but instead going to die for his efforts as Slayer gets rid of him. Arju, nice first touch, can set up for the dunk here, but it's well played out by Taco Stash to get it clear, as now St. Clair trying to see if they can form any sort of offense or stay alive in their own right. And remember, again, only just up by one, as they would definitely like a safety net in place of 2 to just give them that comfort they needed.
Well, I don't think this one's going to show up on the scorecard after, but Arju had a really nice play. I noticed that in front of the net just to save what could have been a potential tying goal. Arju making a big effort to potentially save it here, as Shawnee still knocking at the door, trying to find something, but once again, Arju coming in, saving the day, getting the ball cleared. And this is a much better Shawnee team that we saw in Game 1. They're getting opportunities, they're putting pressure in St. Clair's zone, and making St. Clair just a little bit uncomfortable. So let's just try and get another insurance goal, maybe 2, just to keep the safety net longer, and just try and keep Shawnee State down while we have the advantage.
Yeah, absolutely is now. Zai going upfield, has a little bit of a redirect attempt, as now Arju with the backflip sets up Jazzy perfectly. This one's still going in off the ceiling. A save needs to be made, and just like that, Taco Stash is the hero for Shawnee State on the counterattack. Note, St. Clair on low boost. Jazzy has to cut through his rotation on 0 to find that play down to Arju before he's able to get a full tank, as now Zai has a carry off the ceiling. Won't be able to beat Slayer though. Well done to meet the man up in the air.
Yeah, I can't believe that attempt from Jazzy didn't go in. I mean, just barely missing. That would have been a really good spot for St. Clair to be up 2 with 1:30 left to go. That one does find the net. Jazzy getting it done on the ricochet, the bounce pass. Doesn't need to be fancy, just needs to get it done, and that's exactly what we were talking about with that safety net. 2-goal lead with about 1:30 left. Should be good for the Saints if you just lock Shawnee down for the rest of this time here. Just keep them out of your own zone and just keep putting the pressure on. Try and control the ball in midfield to make sure you keep possession.
Yeah, and I mean now, Shawnee State down by 2 with 1:20. They really got to throw everything they have at St. Clair, as we definitely know they're capable. It's just about whether they can catch our Saints defenders in bad spots, as now Slayer a decent challenge, but Spooky's going to get beat off ball, and since Taco Stash has nothing, this is going to be a very awkward play for Shawnee State. A bump comes through, but again, the ball staying in Shawnee State's half, as now Zai can challenge. Arju up, has a shot, but quickly saved out by Spooky. They're not out of the thick of it yet, though, as now Jazzy looking for Zai. A little bit of a drop-down pass, kind of awkward, but the boost steal is huge from Jazzy, as now he looks to see what he can find in the air. Just playing around with possession in Shawnee's half, and they finally get the move out from Taco Stash. Reset's going to try to find the 50. A pass downfield, and this one should be rolling through from Slayer. Shawnee State, they get it done in the counterattack, as they have so many times before.
Yeah, and these are some of those mistakes that we were talking about that can really add up. And Shawnee, we talked about it, they're able to exploit those holes in the defense, and right there, the Saints just get caught sleeping. Just trying to get a little too aggressive, you know, just maybe playing with your food a little bit too much in Shawnee's zone, just trying to run out the time. But now you got to lock back in, because like you said, Shawnee, they had to throw everything they had at St. Clair, and now that goal lead is now only 1. Like you said, it could quickly be a tie with just 1 shot, as Spooky does try to get a shot off there, but Sai able to clear it out back into Shawnee's zone. Another hit from Sai off the top of the crossbar. Not going to find the net though. 8 seconds left to go. St. Clair going to have to hold on. Taco Stash with an effort isn't going to make it through, but that is going to do it as the rest of the Saints clear it out and take a 2-0 lead in the series. But Shawnee nipping at their heels and making it just a little exciting, but does not matter as St. Clair with the 2-0 lead.
Yeah, you know, Shawnee State looked a little bit better there in terms of finding goals, but if we want to talk possession, can't really say the same as they looked for the first half of game 1. Seems like St. Clair kind of have them figured out, if I do say so myself, Evan.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we talked about how important it was to shut down Taco Stash, and yes, he is very involved in all the plays that Shawnee is trying to make, but St. Clair, they just have the answer. You know, they're able to make the rotations when they need to. They know when to be aggressive and when to pull back a little bit. You know, stealing boost and getting the demos where you need is exactly the recipe to success that they need to get this series win tonight. And right now, I mean, we'll see if that doom scrolling from Arju will just help him re-lock in after the end of game 2. But so far, I mean, everything seems business as usual, calm, cool, and collected for the boys. Can't see how they can't get this one done in 3.
Just let him get his 3-4 Instagram reels in, and then
there you go.
We're good. We know Arju. You know, he's definitely an IG reels guy. Don't really know what that says. I mean, that's for you to decide, right? I mean, that's for you to perceive. But what we're perceiving right now is that St. Clair are up 2-0 on series point. Shawnee State, they have a lot to get back, as now Zai off the ceiling has a reset, cannot quite find the dunk as Jazzy now tries to follow up as well. Arju again to the ball, and now St. Clair, they're looking a lot more aggressive in play. They're not really trying to veer off, as now Arju trying to apply pressure, but it will be Slayer. Well done to get it cleared out, but Zai, recovery off the ceiling, uses the flip instead to fake out as Jazzy going to be called up, and there it is. Another rotation gone wrong for St. Clair. It's as if it's the same story all over again. Shawnee State, they're able to capitalize, and at a huge moment as well, find the 1-0 lead.
Yeah, like you said, it's the man, the myth, the legend, Taco Stash, finding that goal to give Shawnee their first lead of the series. And again, you talked about how aggressive the Saints were coming out of the gate here, and that's where the problems begin. I mean, once you start not taking it as seriously and try going for these super flashy plays, that's where the mistakes come in, and we just saw one right there. There's no reason that Taco Stash should be able to score from that far back in his own end.
Yeah.
Like, that just shouldn't happen, especially when you have these quality players on the team. So it just takes a second to re-lock in, just get back to the basics of what makes your game good, and just execute that and take the win from Shawnee, rip it from the jaws of defeat.
And don't get me wrong, again, Shawnee, quality players as well, but the whole point is, yeah, for players like St. Clair, they shouldn't be making these mistakes, because if you do, players of quality like Shawnee State will punish you, and they will capitalize on those moments. But now, St. Clair looking to equalize. Taco Stash, a brilliant save, as now the ceiling double, potentially a triple comes through for Zai, but it will get shut down, as now Shawnee State looking to control the pace, although St. Clair, again, threatening offense no matter how you put it, as Taco Stash honestly putting a Neuer-like performance in net. Give him a third save as well in about what was a 45-second block, as now St. Clair, they're trying everything, throwing everything at Shawnee, but the iron wall prevails of Shawnee State.
Yeah, it is just that guy, you know, the man of steel himself, Taco Stash, just everywhere right now. And we haven't been calling his name too much, but Slayer, I mean, he gets beat on that play from Sai and the rest of the Saints, but Slayer has been making a big impact for Shawnee as well, just doing it on the side, but does get beaten badly by Jazzy inside. Just perfect execution. Saints tie it back up. And let's see if they can capitalize on this newfound momentum and find another one quickly to get the momentum right back in their favor.
Yeah, you know, that's the problem. If you keep on facing shot after shot after shot, you keep trying to find clears. Again, eventually, you're going to get boost starved. You're going to find yourself in awkward positions. Callouts aren't going to be the same. Miscommunications can happen. Everything's going so fast. And St. Clair, that's where they thrive, is when they don't give you room to breathe. And it really is special. Their offense can literally appear out of thin air, as now Arju reset, elects not to use it, is now Jazzy with a nice follow-up. This is such an awkward position, as he's just going to slowly but surely force his way through Shawnee State. as he finds the calm, collected double.
Man, Jazzy is so skilled when he gets in the air. I mean, you saw him. He does one rotation, then a second one, then gets the rebound on his third go-round, and that is just so skilled from Jazzy. That literally is like a top, percentile of players that are able to do this in Rocket League. So really impressive stuff to see from Jazzy to get the Saints their go-ahead goal. But once again, Shawnee trying to put on this pressure here. That's a fairly open pitch for Taco Stash. Thank goodness the Saints are back to try and defend.
Or down.
A mistake once again as Slayer getting the shot to just bounce off the crossbar and fall in. Jazzy just couldn't get the clear off in time as Slayer comes flying in with a little tap there to send it home. Shawnee equalized quickly, and now we're right back to where we started.
Yet again, never write the man out of it. Slayer with a beautiful shot there is now equalizes for Shawnee State. Massive mistakes from St. Clair is now they find themselves in a tied ball game. Is Spooky. Not the greatest setup for his teammate in Taco Stash to have to deal with as this clear goes through. It's going to be Arju to pick this one off. He's got a man upfield, but Jazzy just missing out. And look at how far up Zai is as well. He needs to make sure he can control this ball and has a carry now as he's trying to find a passer downfield. He has exactly just that. Jazzy coming through from the cut and rotation. Immediately goes up the wall on midfield, finds the shot. Bottom corner as well. Not a damn thing Taco Stash and company could do about it.
No, that's a big time shot, right? And big time players make big time plays.
They do.
And so far, Jazzy has been the one to make those big plays for St. Clair in this game. I mean, the chemistry is just on point right now. Like knowing how to set up these aerial plays and just executing it perfectly. Shawnee, like you said, just can't do anything to stop this offensive onslaught of St. Clair. And right now, I mean, you still have a minute left to go. Shawnee has proven that they can get one back quickly. So hopefully you can add another one here just to make it certain. And I like how aggressive they're being still. I mean, very boomer bust. You could leave yourself wide open to a potential equalizer from Shawnee, but the Saints have been in these positions before. They just have to lock it down. Not like that, unfortunately, as Taco Stash a little bit more locked in than the St. Clair defense was in this case. Sai, I like what he was trying to do, but Shawnee just made a better rotation.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Zai there, great idea, wrong net. I get it. You're trying to put it over some of the Shawnee State attackers, just try to get this one cleared out. There's not really a better thing that you can do on ball, but unfortunately, none of your options were all that good as now Zai. I want to say that's maybe a double reset that he tried to take low. Disgusting work there from him, but it's not going to fall through in fruition as now Jazzy going to take a stab at it himself. Double turns into a nice pass, is now bar down. Arju trying to find the target, but Slayer calm and composed, able to force that one out. 20 seconds left.
Oh my God, how did that not go in? I mean, we just needed a little bit. I thought it was even going to go in off of a Shawnee defender, but it was not meant to be, unfortunately. The Saints still trying to push the issue here. It's 5 seconds left to go. Ball still in the Saints' control side, trying to set it up for Arju, but not going to happen as it does hit the ground. Slayer flying in. Overtime in Game 3 is needed to finish this series, and you don't want to say you're nervous for St. Clair, but this is really the time when you can't afford to make those mistakes they've sort of piled up as this game has gone on.
Yeah, I mean, again, remember they had such confidence heading into this series, and Tommaso said, Bears said he would scream at them if they dropped the game. Well, we're about to find out right now. It's really good shadow defense from Jazzy as he was last back. Arju in support near post. A little bit of an awkward clearance as now Zai has to rotate through the back post as Jazzy now. Carry of his own, flip reset. It's going to get so much speed. So decent try of a clear, but St. Clair, they're not out of their own half just yet.
No, not yet. And Shawnee has been able to put a lot of pressure on in this half. St. Clair just can't get a clean clear off right now. There's always a Shawnee defender who's anticipating where the ball is going to go, and that leads to these attempts that Shawnee's been putting out. St. Clair now gets a bit of breathing room now as Shawnee Slayer having to handle the ball, but does have Sai to work with. Spooky come flying in as well as Jazzy trying to end it. Doesn't get it as Taco Stash once again making a heroic play for Shawnee to keep this game alive. But the Saints continuing to put on pressure. Sai with control in the midfield, trying to delay to get a teammate around, but Slayer is there to defend it, but St. Clair still on the offensive.
I mean, impressive from Zai to have the catch and then a double reset with a dunk as well, just to give St. Clair that little bit of breathing room they so desperately needed. That being said, still work to be done on defense as Jazzy kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place now, is leaving it off to Zai. Another catch, but this one a little more awkward. The ground pinch coming through, and now Arju can follow up as he's got a little more of a carry. Flip reset as well. He'd be electing to use that to find a double off to a passing play. That one's so close, but Slayer makes the right touch in time. Wave dash as well. He's got good recovery. All of a sudden, Shawnee State, they can try this one downfield, but Arju off the backboard, close to it, is going to be able to deny them this time.
Yeah, that was really good stuff from Shawnee. Like you said, another whiff from St. Clair, quite frankly, that Shawnee was able to take advantage of. Slayer going coast to coast almost, just wasn't able to finish it off. But these are those mistakes that have really piled up for St. Clair, and Shawnee really shouldn't be this close into this game, the way St. Clair has been, running the floor, and they almost exploited them again right there. So just some more work to do on St. Clair. That one just missing. Not enough speed. Arju able to keep this one alive as he's between a rock and a hard place with Spooky on the wall here, but another demo coming through on the side of Shawnee, and now they're back on the attack with an open net. Slayer finding the overtime goal. Tommaso, those vocal cords better get warmed up. That scream is going to have to come through, but again, just missed opportunities for the Saints there. Clearly, they don't seem too shaken by what just happened. Just have to be a little cleaner as we head into Game 4.
Yeah, questions to be asked there of St. Clair. Zai, not his greatest moment, but it's all good because, again, series not over just yet. But you give away one more, and all of a sudden things are looking very dire, and you're going to have to lock in at the right moments. Jazzy knows. He's like, what is going on? What was that? Again, Shuffleverse. Onlooking and laughing as the soft coach that he is, according to Baristas. Now, we know we've kind of caught them in a little bit of a hiccup, but strap in your boots, lock in. It's time for Game 4 as Shawnee State able to take another one off of us. Arju showing some very fluid movements there. Could be a potential future as a cameraman.
Maybe, but I want to see more of that fluid movement in the game. I want to see some just really exciting plays, some smart plays, though. Just make sure you keep it level-headed. You can respond to this loss with a resounding win in Game 4, potentially. And let's see if they can get that going. Got some early pressure in Shawnee's zone. Archer trying to get set up for a shot, but gets bumped out in front of the net. But Sai keeps control for the Saints as Jazzy comes flying in, just not enough. Not the right angle to get that shot, but Arju still trying to maintain control, though. Spooky is there, though, to get it back for Shawnee. Now they're back on the counterattack. Taco Stash with the shot does find the top right corner. Shawnee with another early goal to set them up with the 1-goal lead.
And he is automatic. You do not give Taco Stash those kind of looks. He will make you pay. The Shawnee head up 1-0. I saw Jazzy on that corner. A little bit of an awkward clear out, and that's really what kind of set that up. As I saw it drop, I didn't want to take anything away from your call, Evan, but I was kind of looking at that, and I was like, well, that's not good. It's not a good sign for St. Clair's. Now, they have to respond. 4 minutes and 10 seconds, though, to do just that. As Zai, quick demo downfield, is now Arju. Has a little bit of a carry. Reset in pocket, electing not to use it. Pogos instead and uses the reset almost for a dunk. St. Clair, can you convert on this? No! What are you doing, Zion Jazzy? Is downfield now. They have to make a stop, and for goodness sake, at least they're able to do that.
I don't even know what to say, Patrick. That was like almost a Three Stooges bit in front of the Shawnee net there. Like, I think you said it perfectly. It's just, how does that not go in after multiple attempts? That one finally finds purchase as Arju gets the equalizer. But like you said, it's just these little mistakes that have really been piling up. That has been the whole story of this series. I mean, St. Clair's thankfully was able to have a good start to mitigate some of these mistakes, but you have to think, like, if Shawnee was able to play this good at the start of this series, there would be a much different outlook right now, I think, as we head into this Game 4. I don't think St. Clair would be as comfortable as they might be feeling now. Arju, another near miss. but more attempts from St. Clair as they continue to put pressure in Shawnee's zone.
Yeah, and now it seems like after this game, by the way, just side note, we're going to be heading straight into Overwatch. So don't go anywhere after this series, but it will be wrapping up potentially soon as St. Clair. They're going to be heading up 2-1. As now it's going to be Jazzy putting that one through, Zai with the pass, and everybody awkward from Shawnee State as first man rotation able to clear out the net. Good stuff from St. Clair. They take advantage, and with 3 minutes left, force the issue back onto Shawnee.
Man, I don't want to think about Overwatch right now. We got this exciting Rocket League series
I know.
in front of us right now. I mean, we'll stay right here for right now because the Saints still have some more business to take care of in this series. Shawnee still trying to salvage the series, but oh my goodness, Jazzy with a snipe from mid-air. Let's take a look at this one again. Sai and Jazzy comboing together, just perfectly placed over the head of Taco Stash. Nothing you can do there. St. Clair up 2 now. Can they keep the safety net just a little longer, a little bigger for them right now?
If you're going to be doing stuff like that, I'd really hope so,
Okay.
but again,
All right.
it's not fact, as now we get slapped in the face with a little bit of reality, which is that these guys on Shawnee State, they do not break. Bend maybe, but it's not over yet with 2 minutes and 45 left to go. Shawnee State within 1 now, and St. Clair, a little more pressure now against them. Shawnee trying to carry this one down. Good air dribble bump, but St. Clair had numbers back.
Yeah, I like how aggressive St. Clair is becoming on this counterattack. Jazzy does get demoed out by Slayer. That is going to stall the attack for a little bit while he gets back into it, but another good shot from him. Not going to get past Taco Stash this time, though. Sai trying to get in there for another attempt, but doesn't go through as he does try and take control. Still Jazzy flying in once again. Ball still in St. Clair's control. Out in front of the net, but nobody home as Taco Stash intercepts that pass. Another wide open net potentially, but thank goodness Sai and Archer are able to get back in time on that rotation. Just another clear from Shawnee that spells danger. I mean, we've seen a lot of these where it looks like Taco Stash or Spooky have a wide open lane, but somebody from St. Clair is there to save it when they need it most.
Yeah, as now it's going to be Jazzy downfield getting bumped off, as now, Shawnee, they have a little bit of a play going there, as had to be Jazzy quickly back in rotation to deny Spooky and Slayer that opportunity. As now Taco Stash getting 50'd out. Ball goes back to his end, and that's a big demo there from Zai. This can give St. Clair some opportunity. Drop down pass. Is there a shooter in? Yes, there is, but Slayer able to meet Zai's shot. As now Arju off the ceiling, reset. It never stops for St. Clair as they continue to pound through on offenses. Now Shawnee State, they're looking for any sort of semblance of a clear. Zai, if you hit a redirect off of their backboard, squishy save-esque, but a redirect instead, that would have been absolutely disgusting. Is now with a minute left to go, Shawnee, they have to force a response. They've made 2 Saints players commit, but no, just over Taco Stash, as that's going to be another one he wishes he had one more look at.
Yeah, that was a really good attempt from Shawnee there to potentially equalize. Thank goodness the Saints were able to sniff that one out and save it, but look at this pressure that Shawnee's been putting on right now. If I'm the Saints, I'm really uncomfortable with these last 30 seconds. These have to be perfect from the Saints. You cannot afford to make any more of these mistakes, because now Shawnee is really going to be throwing everything that they have. Now that they can smell blood in the water, they know that they have a chance. They just need to find an answer, as Taco Stash keeping the play alive as Spooky saves it in the midcourt. Spooky flying in once again.
That's past
trying
Zai.
Set something up, and it goes past Zai. Somehow, at the stroke of midnight, Shawnee has tied it up once again. Zai just a little lackadaisical on the rotation.
Man.
Can't get to that one at all. That's another one we've seen where these wide open clears from Shawnee that have no reason to go in the net somehow find a way in. And I mean, Smoke, you're holding your head in your hands right now. I mean, if you're St. Clair, you might end up with a win in this series, but you have to think this has been a pretty disappointing performance, all things considered.
I mean, again, I know I'm not a CRL world champion, but in that situation, Zai just has to drive there. He doesn't have to do a wave dash, and because he did, it took him a little too far upfield, and just made him awkward enough to give Shawnee an opportunity. This demo comes through off an air dribble though, and maybe St. Clair can finish this one soon so that Zai doesn't have to take a scolding from Barist later. A good pass infield is now Arju trying to find any shots or demos inbound. He will do just that. This one opens up very nicely for him. A 50 though, and that is well done by Slayer to keep it out for now.
Yeah, the aggression is really starting to turn up right now for St. Clair, but just not able to find purchase on any of these shots. Shawnee's defense, especially their goal line defense, has been really, really impressive tonight, and it's been able to keep the Saints out of the net multiple times where they should have had some easy goals that they usually would get. But Shawnee, like we said, they're able to hang around, but not anymore as Sai makes up for his earlier mistake, plays the hero, wins the day for St. Clair. And I mean, it wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and St. Clair won it in 3.
Right, I mean,
or 4,
again,
I should
yes,
say. 4.
you're all good.
Wait a minute, no, it's 4.
They won by 3 games, as now they have the 3-1 lead. So they've won by collecting their 3 games in a best-of-5 series, Evan. There you go. But
thanks, man.
I think that again, right, Zai being saved there a little bit, and now seems like St. Clair, they will remain victorious in NACEs in week 5 now. Put them on for 5-0. Shawnee State, some things remain the same as they showed glimpses of making this one dangerous for St. Clair, but not to be seen just yet, as they will have to wait until a further date to see if they can get that Game 5 showing versus the St. Clair Saints.
That would have been a really interesting Game 5, I think. I don't know who I would have taken in that one. Hopefully, I mean, the Saints would have gotten the job done, but I guess we're left to imagine the possible reality that would have been a Game 5 against Shawnee. But this isn't Rocket League. This is Overwatch now as we jump into the Saints currently in progress as they take on Grandview. And this we can kind of talk a little quickly to tee this one up. Grandview still winless in NACE so far. The Saints looking to stay undefeated, and at least on paper, I think this should be a series that the Saints have in the bag right now. They've had a great start on Lijiang Tower as they're already up 1 objective point. And, you know, Smoke, we can say it, the Overwatch team has been rolling lately. This is their 3rd game in 7 days. Hopefully they can keep up the momentum that they built from early in the week.
Yes, and we have seen them now finally drop a map for once in their life, but that being said, Juice, the ult comes through, and again, it's just all hit scan all day on the Freya for Juice. It's easy pickings as now that dash as well in midair. Such good movement from our hit scan player as now he will finally go down, but for Grandview, a lot to think about on the drawing board as we're just going to be tuning into the latter stages of that game. It's going to be St. Clair who take game 1, and with a 1-0 series lead against Grandview, now we can finally break down these teams, at least our team lineup as well, because our team has something a little bit interesting going on, as we were here to note, no Alex tonight for the support staff.
Yeah, no Alex tonight. Heard he was not feeling well. That was word from Robin, so we got the Soaks Redix support combo tonight. I mean, this has been something
gotta be so
that
chopped,
has worked out, this Kiriko-Lucio combo.
Yes.
I mean, you get Soaks on Kiriko, Redix, the Lucio specialist for the Saints, just so deadly with that character. And I mean, when you have those like anchor supports that you just know are going to perform consistently, and you just let your DPS and Shred just run the paint after that, you know it's going to be a good night for St. Clair. I mean, so far they're already off to a hot start. We didn't see the bulk of that game on Lijiang Tower, but business as usual, it seems.
If there's any way that we could get St. Clair Overwatch to get mic'd up, tonight would be the night to do it. I mean, we got Soaks and Redix as the support combo. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This one is chalked on comms for this one. Sorry, Tread, you're gonna have to do a little bit of carrying because yeah, your supports are probably gonna be going wild in the chat. But now let's actually get into sort of some notes on St. Clair in terms of, you know, what they do good and what they do bad and what we can expect from them tonight. Obviously, we saw Control going very well for them, as I believe that was Li Zhang. So they are going to be able to take that one through, as that's usually a lock for them as well. New Queen Street they were able to pick up finally, as you know, we had that switch as Redix now on the Lucio instead of Soaks in that New Queen Street. That was a little bit of a hard watch, but they got the job done there as well now. So no more bad reputation for New Queen Street. The bad reputation actually falls on what I would choose if I was Grandview from losing this map one, and that is that you should take St. Clair to Flashpoint.
Yeah, I mean, the Flashpoint that we saw most recently on our Overwatch streams wasn't the cleanest, I'd say. They're just getting caught out on these rotations, not able to get the next point, just not able to get quick, not able to get there quick enough, just, a bit lackadaisical on these rotations, not taking the team fights when they should have, just very out of character for the Saints altogether. I think, UTD, their previous opponent, was able to exploit these weaknesses and just really, it was close though. I believe that UTD won on the 5th and final Flashpoint. So yes, the Saints were definitely in it, but there were some critical team fights, especially near the end of the game, that they just weren't able to win, just using the ults a bit incorrectly, and that did lead to a map loss, a thing we're not too used to seeing for Saints Overwatch. We're, used to this penchant of 3-0 series victories, but I think tonight is a really good opportunity to get back to their winning ways and just prove that they can be dominant no matter what lineup they decide to throw out.
Yeah, and I mean, you can tell Redix is excited as he just kind of shot us a little bit of a look in the player cams. He's happy to be on the roster. He's happy to be competing as St. Clair. They look to their second map, and we will see as the reveal goes to show, it will end up being a little bit of a convoy on Gibraltar's. Now, St. Clair going to see the lineup of the Winston switched over to D.Va from Shred, and most notably, Juice on the Widow.
This is a good point to have Widow on. There are so many open sight lines. There is that extreme high ground that's so important to taking these first control points. I know you usually don't see Widowmaker on attack, but clearly the Saints have found something in Grandview's defense they think they can exploit. If you can let Juice just cook and, pick off these squishies for Grandview, they're going to have a really difficult time at defending this payload first. It's a tough ask of a team when you have a team so dominant like St. Clair, and to have to defend them when you know that payload is one of their stronger game modes. That's a really tall order for somebody like Grandview, who has been struggling this season. So if the Saints are smart, they're going to take advantage of these skill gaps and really try and push the pace and make this so Grandview can't get anything set up, and just make it really hard on all facets of the game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. St. Clair showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon, as they already have the first point and they're moving with meters. Is now picking up where they left off. 5:13 still on the clock. So again, they're getting this done, trying to get it done in record time. Is now Juice on that Widow. Tread getting a little bit low as well. Let's get some help from his supports, as Redx going to be able to take down Cinnabar. No Brig for Grandview, meaning the space is going to get taken very aggressively from here on out, as you see Solom go down as well as Firefly. It's all trickle for Grandview as they need to reposition.
Yeah, it's been fairly easy, I think, for St. Clair right now. They're just taking every fight that's in front of them, and they're winning every single fight that they're trying to get done here. I mean, Grandview just hasn't been able to put up any sort of a defense here. I mean, St. Clair has just gone uncontested through this entire map. Nothing is working for them. Tread finding Floor in there, trying to push onto Cinnabar, is going to get her finally. So low, just BMing with the melee, not even bothering to shoot. I mean, like you said, that is some extra BM coming in from St. Clair. Like, we know they're feeling confident, we know what they're capable of, and right now you can see they're going to try and push this Grandview spawn as far back as they possibly can, just not giving them anywhere to go, as once again St. Clair trying to push this aggressive game plan. So Grandview having to change up the order a little bit. D.Va Bomb does come through, does not find anybody. Grandview goes cowering for cover. See Juice, see if he can get a big pick here. I'd love to see Juice just go absolutely crazy on this final area of the map here. He's going to trade shots with Firefly, does finally get somebody in Florin, as once again these Grandview defenders just can't get anything set. St. Clair just too dominant right now.
Spawn camping with a Widow is absolutely disgusting. Is now we're just seeing Tread just completely emoting on point. Is just riding this one in. Don't really care. This last second pressure can happen, but back to spawn you all go. Is with 4:42 remaining, St. Clair a quick 3 points.
Yeah, and very quick. I think that's the big thing you want to take away from that is now that just gives Grandview a much harder task at matching the energy that the Saints have come to play with right now. I mean, you could just tell that this is just, you know, locked in domination from the Saints here. They want to keep their winning ways going, and like we said, this is a good opportunity for them to stay in the win column. Grandview has had their struggles in NACE so far. So far, St. Clair has been able to take advantage of these shortcomings, but still some game left to play. We'll see what Grandview's going to throw at them as they get a chance to attack the payload now. Smoke, what are you expecting to see from St. Clair's defense here? Are we going to see Juice stick with the Widowmaker, or do you want him to maybe change it up a little bit?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think that, you know, Juice, he's having a fun time as, you know, if he really wants to completely lock in, we know he'll just pick up on the Sojourn. Again, Grand Valley, I don't believe they have the greatest record on paper right now for NACEs. Now, oh yes, I've been told, yes, 0-3. So, again, St. Clair, they're just trying to pick this one off before their fateful matchup with ISU. And I think, you know, the number one thing that we saw going into this was, well, you know, Santana on the other side on Grandview has some B-tier experience, right, as a tank player, and we were like, hey, you know what? Maybe this will be kind of a battle of the floor generals. I know we're not talking ball here, but between Tread and Santana, so far Tread has been the one to space out the floor a lot better for St. Clair, as now we see that onto the wrecking ball. As we know, our good friend back at home, Brendan, if he's watching this, he is very, very happy.
Yeah, I think seeing the wrecking ball come out, I think, tells you everything you need to know about how St. Clair is viewing this matchup here. Wrecking Ball for Tread is a bit of a troll character, somebody pulls out when they're just trying to have a little bit of fun, so clearly St. Clair thinks they can afford to have a little bit of fun on Gibraltar right now, but in Grandview, I mean, they have gotten the payload decent bit so far. I mean, just approaching this first choke point is a bunch of squishies, and Tread continue to clash on this edge of the map. Tread picking up Cinnabar. That's a big support pick, as now he gets right back into the fray. Santana, though, finding that hook with the Roadhog. It's going to be a tough one. You don't see Roadhog as much in comp Overwatch anymore. It's not as good as he used to be, a shadow of his former self, but if you're a squishy character or somebody who's a bit low in health, still have to be careful. That hook one-shot combo is still deadly.
Yeah, absolutely is now St. Clair. You know, they let Grandview have a couple of meters, and now they're going to watch to see if they can just take this one back a little bit of a step. It's 2 minutes 30 remaining. It's a little bit of a hard point to hold, though, if you give up the high ground here. So Tread going to be making sure that he and company can keep this one under control. Is now diving into the back line. This Wu Yang soloed out and needs some more support, and this is all good because it takes away resources from the Roadhog. Every time that Tread does this, goes back line and disrupts the combination between the Kiriko and the Wu Yang, it means that then Grandview, they need to split off from the Roadhog, and he's just eventually going to have to burn through his healing canister, going to have to take even more damages. Now Razor just getting some chip damage in as Tread finishing off everything in the room, as Florin going to go down. Tread on a little bit of a tear here on the Wrecking Ball and has these mines ready as well.
Yeah, that was a really tough team fight if you're Grandview there. I mean, you get staggered out, just can't find anything. Juice now, I mean, he's really starting to get cooking now as everything is just landing for St. Clair right now. And for Grandview, I mean, my worry really started once they lost that first initial push there. This Gibraltar first point, notoriously a very difficult choke point to get through. Like you said, if you can't hold the high ground, and if you can't get any points going up as Tread, he's just hanging out, just surveying the battlefield like Spider-Man would, as he's just waiting for his opportunity. Oh, tries to get swung out, but does get caught by Santana's hook. I think Tread definitely got a little scared from that one, but is still able to get away. Cannot match the speed of Wrecking Ball, unfortunately, for Grandview, but, you know, Tread just having some fun. Santana getting caught out again. Those mines do go down from Tread to make things even more difficult for Grandview as Santana just falls on one as he gets taken out of the match here as Tread adding another one on Firefly. He is just absolutely running them down with Wrecking Ball right now. St. Clair still looking dominant even on the defensive side.
Yeah, and now we can see, you know, this one all but over as Grandview. They need one hell of a push to find any momentum, and Tread just hanging around the back line disrupts even more so as now he pops the shields and rotates out away. Going back into the fray now as we see Firefly finding a decent headshot onto Soaks, and now, you know, Grandview, all credit to him. With overtime looming, they have control here. Have the Roadhog ultimate as well to keep St. Clair off of this payload. So they are probably going to get this first point, if I had to imagine, just to make sure that they don't throw any useless bodies to Juice, as now he's going to make his presence felt. That being said, St. Clair, they're all staggered out, and if I'm the Roadhog here, I pop ult and I try to see if I can keep St. Clair off a point, especially Tread, and keep this one pushing.
Yeah, Santana does pop his ult. That pulse bomb coming through from Florin does find Juice. That's a big pick for Grandview if you're trying to get these last couple meters here. I mean, you are still getting resistance from Tread. Tread doing a good job and just delaying everything and giving St. Clair time to rotate back in. Razor, though, does get caught up from that hook, and Firefly is going to be the one to take him out. Santana, though, still a problem on the objective for Grandview as Tread doing his best to just keep this overtime timer going as long as he can, just trying to stall out Grandview. Is winning this battle with Santana. I mean, he is going to get around half health, but a bunch of healing coming through as Tread finally gets his ult back. That's huge for St. Clair, and holding out Grandview. Just have to hold off these couple seconds, find these big support picks. Tread running out of ammo, can't finish the pick, but it doesn't matter as Grandview get pushed off the payload, and St. Clair, from the skin of their teeth, pull it out on Gibraltar. 2-0 series lead.
Yes. Now, it seems like Santana telling Soaks that he is in fact 8th in Thailand, to where Soaks responds, no, I'm 7th. I'm 7th. Just letting him know, you know what I mean?
They
like, don't speak for
007,
my
man.
place.
They call him 007 because he's the 7th ranked in that region. But I mean, like you said, Grandview just, what can you say? I mean, just not able to get anything done. The boys are just cooking right now. And when you give St. Clair the opportunity to have fun and just play as aggressive and trolly as they have been, you just can't stop them.
When you give Tread the opportunity to farm ult charge for about 2 minutes on payload, as it just does not seem to want to move for him. You know, who knew? Wrecking Ball can stall time,
Who
but
would've thought?
again, you know, I really thought that he was in a troublesome moment near the end there. I mean, I saw that Redix was down. Soaks on the Wu Yang was at like, what, 10 health maybe for a little while? Actually had to literally wait, because obviously Redix isn't there, for the passive support healing to kick in. I mean, that's how low and how thin they had St. Clair's support staggered out at that point, right? And still, Tread, with everyone, all eyes on him, able to evade in that big metal hamster wheel, as he's able to farm ult charge enough so to the point where he regains his mines. I mean, that just shouldn't be able to happen. I'm sorry, that's a problem. And I think that, unfortunately, you know, Grandview, they couldn't stop this problem, which was Tread on Hamter.
No, and like you said, that would have been their best opportunity. You know, really, they should have taken that first checkpoint there. There's no reason why St. Clair was able to. I mean, if you're Tread, if you're Grandview, like, Wrecking Ball has to be your #1 priority. Like, you just have to spend all your resources at making sure he cannot stay on the payload for that long. Because the longer you give him, the more time you give St. Clair to rotate back in and build up those ults again. And Grandview were just getting caught in that you know, that treadmill, like, just endless cycle of just the overtime not ending. No one is winning a fight. The supports are going crazy right now. And like you said, nobody on Grandview was able to make that play, which leads to the St. Clair victory. And Tread, you know, power to him for staying the course and just laying his life on the line to try and stay on the payload for as long as possible, because that was really the reason they won that game. And Grandview, you know, really should be kicking themselves for giving Tread the opportunity to be in that position in the first place.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you just cannot stop the powerhouse from Gen G. It is what it is, but you must accept what is in front of you. And that is St. Clair on a roll right now as they're looking to keep momentum going. We said it before, what, third time they've played this week in the past 7 calendar days for collegiate competition. So good things from them so far as they're on a hot streak, up 2-0 right now. And Grandview seems like we may have our final dance with St. Clair coming up in just a moment's time.
Just a moment's time. Give the boys just some more opportunity to doom scroll a little bit. You know, hopefully they don't take notes from the Rocket League team and, you know, take their foot off the gas a little bit and drop what would be or should be a winnable game 3. Hopefully they can just get their business done and end it where it needs to go. But from what we've seen so far, I mean, I don't think there's any reason not to think that St. Clair is going to completely dominate in this third game, because they just seem on a different level right now compared to Grandview.
Yeah, as now we're all ready to get through with this one. You know, we were talking to Robin right before we came on here, and, you know, again, we were thinking, right? Flashpoint, New Queen Street, you know, what can happen for Grandview? Are you guys nervous at all? They responded no, and it seems like, you know, Grandview at least has done their research on St. Clair, knowing that this is where they had their last blunder. So let's see if St. Clair's confidence can hold up. It's going to be Noxious as well, switching out for Juice. So now we get to see a little bit of play from the lad from X-Team Canada's Sojourn going to be picked out, and unfortunately for St. Clair, the opposite Sojourn, Firefly, is going to be able to find the first one on the Razor.
Yeah, and this is sort of where the problems started for St. Clair. Last time we saw them on Flashpoint, you swap out Juice for Noxious, and, you know, not knocking Noxious as a player, you know, very, very talented, and, you know, obviously deserves all the credit that he's been given, but sometimes I feel like when the Saints decide to switch up the comp just a little bit, like, that chemistry just, it's not the same, right? Like, right now, Grandview has really been running the point. I mean, Florin especially has just been, you know, dominating with the Tracer right now. This is another instance where St. Clair just aren't in a good spot to take a team fight and even attempt to get some progression going, as right now Grandview looking incredibly strong and much different from what we saw in Gibraltar.
Right, I mean, a change of pace completely. St. Clair, you know, they were a team that kind of dominated these more fast-paced game modes and fast maps as well, maps that require you to get in close and out quick. As now it seems like the table for this semester has been kind of completely turned. They don't seem sort of as there on Flashpoint, so as they reset, we'll see if maybe a quick pick onto the Kiriko will allow them to get back in. It won't happen, but that being said, more blunders is now the Lucio gone for St. Clair. That speed boost not available as Noxious able to answer back, but all in this overtime as it looms down. If St. Clair cannot touch this point, they're going to be down 1-0 on Flashpoint's bar and control being taken. It seems like they're finally starting to make their contest. Tread able to touch, will be able to get rid of 2, and off a third from the back of Soaks will be able to take this Flashpoint in St. Clair's command.
Yeah, you just hope it's not too little too late. I mean, that was the push we were looking for about 3 minutes ago. Just a little slow on the rotation there. I mean, you got to give credit to Grandview for just picking the fights when they need to. Try to be smart, don't overextend, and, you know, catching St. Clair, you know, in these traps, you know, you can force them to make mistakes and overextend, you know. Sometimes if you're an underdog, you can make, you know, the Goliath in the situation, make mental mistakes, and you can take advantage of that. So far, Grandview's been able to do that, but 2 Kiriko rushes coming out. Firefly's ult is online as well. Only going to find Razor as St. Clair still holding down the fort, just barely. Tread, one of the lone defenders for the Saints, as they do clear this progress that Grandview had built up. This is a really good hold. This is what we weren't seeing from St. Clair last time on Flashpoint. They seem like they've done their homework a little bit, a bit more composed on the defensive side of this mode.
Sure, but just as we say that, their on-healer going to be taken down. Quick headshot going to be the doing in of Soaks, as now Redex having to pop the beat drop, but it will not matter. Tread going down as well as now St. Clair just falling at the seams. They were doing so damn good, but all of a sudden, a team wipe for Grandview is going to spell that first flashpoint, and you know, Grandview, they just come right back and they sweep the rug from under St. Clair's feet.
And that's an expensive team fight to lose to. Redex popping his beat drop to try and save St. Clair, but just not enough to get it done. Noxious trying to change the strat up a little bit, going to pop on that Reaper. I think that's a much better choice for the type of rotations that St. Clair likes to run here. Not sure if having a more long-range character is going to do dividends, especially if you can have somebody like Santana on a Zarya, as Noxious is able to put a lot of good pressure on the tank and the support. So he's going to be a really big piece of this puzzle if St. Clair wants to solve Grandview on Flashpoint.
Yeah, again, right, not having a hit scan for the time being could prove to be a little bit deadly, but on a map like this, I don't really think that it's going to be that much of a problem. Again, Noxious, right? Such a good Reaper player in his own right, can be extremely ego chow heavy and does good work when he goes through and has a little bit of confidence in himself. As now the recall goes back, Florin trying to see if Florin can make a play, but no, not quite. As just going to be backing off for St. Clair, as now they just regress back to point. And again, I just want to talk about the Reaper switch, right? I mean, it works so well with the Zarya because when you're in close range, again, that Reaper is going to pump out so much damage, and if you can just bubble Noxious, right? You pick one of two things. Do you feed Tread charge, or do you just let Noxious kill you? We've had this conversation on stream before. It's a beautiful combo that usually works out, and if you're looking to rank up in your own Overwatch 2 games as well, definitely give it a try if you have a good Zarya main on your team.
Yeah, Reaper right now is just so deadly in the meta. I mean, good in any situation, honestly, but being that Noxious is, you know, he has a penchant for being ultra aggressive. He's the perfect type of player to be this big impact Reaper. And I mean, when you talk about impact players, I'm looking at Florin right now. I mean, Florin's Tracer has been the difference maker for Grandview. I mean, literally night and day, I think, from Gibraltar, as Florin has just been able to find these big impact picks, especially on the St. Clair supports. I mean, Florin has just been bullying Soaks and Redex so far in this game, and even putting a lot of good pressure onto Tread, sort of neutralizing the impact. I mean, Tread, you know, obviously we talked about how good he is, but, you know, maybe not as strong on Zarya compared to some of his other tanks. And I mean, when you have Santana trying to match that energy, another decorated tank player, you're gonna get a lot of these big fights here, and you just have to be perfect. These black holes that come through have to be perfect on either side. That beat drop from Redex going to save St. Clair there as Santana wastes it.
Yeah, you know, that's a huge ult right there from Redex, as it could be the thing that gets St. Clair at this point potentially, but there is a lot of pressure going up against them as Santana getting low on health, gets healed up though, as Noxious going to be next to fall. Tread, the next one out, and this one looks like it's going to stick as Grandview's for the time being. St. Clair, you got one more team fight left in you, but you have to try to get through a Kitsune rush from Solum, as most definitely going to be holding on to that last one, as Soaks wondering if he should probably invest his 2 in this last final push.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to. I mean, like, what more could you do? You have 2 ults to work with. Tread isn't gonna be anywhere close to getting his ready for this fight. Noxious still a long ways away as well. Soaks does use his ult there. Razor looking for that opportunity to get a big pulse bomb play. Not gonna find it though yet, as he does need some more patience, trying to find this opening as the Saints get back onto the point. 99% for both sides here. This is a huge fight for St. Clair if they want to get back into the series. Huge beat drop coming through from Cinnabar, but it's not going to matter as Redex, the mirror match Lucio, is going to beat Cinnabar down as the Saints, by the skin of their teeth, find their first flashpoint and maybe find their first bit of momentum in this map.
But make no mistake about it, I mean, already giving up a flashpoint to Grandview and almost conceding a second, this is by far their weakest mode without a shout of a doubt. Forget all the trolling that, you know, some of the players could have said they were doing last time. Now, if it has not been proven already, this one to me is crystal clear. St. Clair on Flashpoint, it is definitely where bigger teams like ISU are going to look to take them if they want to beat them. And regardless of the outcome tonight, I think, again, St. Clair needs to go back to the drawing board and do a little more homework on their flashpoint, because to me, it definitely needs work compared to their other forms of gameplay.
Well, it's a tough one as well, because you have to switch between offense and defense so quickly. Like, it could literally happen within seconds of each other, and especially when you have to move around so much, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get caught out in these fights, it does spell disaster, and especially in a game like Overwatch, where if you die sometimes, that could be detrimental to a potential team push, especially if you're one of these big DPS players or a support, right? Team comp is everything in Overwatch, and that's where Grandview has been able to exploit St. Clair. They're finding these awkward picks in awkward timings to stagger their respawn timers, and Grandview is able to take advantage of that behind Santana's excellent play with Zarya.
Oh man, I mean, through the Kitsune Rush as well, Soaks just going DPS for this one as he literally finds kill participation in, I believe, all 5 of that team kill, as the Kitsune Rush finds the assist for everything. Is now St. Clair holding strong, and they can get a quick second one right now off a team wipe as well. Grandview, they got to try to rush in there as Solum has a rush of their own, as they're going to try to see what they can do here. Is not very much. Noxious with a huge Death Blossom going to stall out Grandview, and just like that, St. Clair, they take their second point. One more to confirm victory for them over Grandview.
Yeah, they're going to have to be careful, though, because you do have ults online for Grandview. They're going to be able to get a decent push here. You're going to have 2 support ults and Florin's Death Blossom to work with. So St. Clair has to be careful on how much they're going to invest in this first potential push here, because Grandview is going to be able to get something cooking. Not really sure if Cinnabar dropping that beat drop there was the best play, not even on the objective, as nobody else from Grandview really was pushing the issue there. Another ult coming in from Grandview to try and get them set up on this point here. Florin in the aura of the Kitsune Rush, but St. Clair waiting in the wings, just trying to wait it out as Razor trying to get engaged on the point, but Florin getting engaged with that Death Blossom. Santana finding another pick for Grandview, and it doesn't matter when they're going to use their ults, because they're still going to capture that flashpoint fairly easily.
Yeah, and again, Santana and Firefly setting themselves up quite nicely percentage-wise for a potential Graviton Surge, X-Pulse Bomb, so really good ult combo there, but St. Clair going to see if they can have one in pocket as well. Razor and Tread. Again, you have the beat drop too, so you could look for a counter onto it, but it's going to be St. Clair that at least need to push the momentum they need to find somewhere to reach a gap in Grandview's defense. As now this is going to be the charge going down from the Zarya, as now you saw the Pulse Bomb got used too. Not
Big, huge.
Nothing. No semblance of kills being found out for Grandview, and instead it's a complete roll. Yes, they do get a lot of percentage, but at the same time, St. Clair now have all of the onus on themselves to build them up. It's now 1 point away. St. Clair with the potential final flashpoint in their control. Grandview, what do you got in store to put them off?
That was a great, I just want to talk about how great that team fight was from St. Clair that just happened there. Santana, rightfully so, getting all of St. Clair caught in their black hole, not able to get any picks, and in turn, Tread pops his own with the support ults as well, able to live through any DPS that Grandview throws at them. That was an excellent use of their ult economy to get this flashpoint and hopefully steal this one away, but Grandview putting on more pressure now as support ults from Solum and potentially Cinnabar are going to be coming through. There is the beat drop to get this issue pushed even further for Grandview, and once again, they're in a position to capture this flashpoint. Saints
think they're going to do it.
A lot more percentage that they need to find to keep this series alive, but Grandview, look at this, they are going to capture this final, or not final flashpoint as we get to the last one coming up now, but again, another game of flashpoint where the Saints should have put this team away and just let them hang around and linger, and it leads to a much closer series than it probably should have been.
Yeah, I mean, again, right? Don't count Grandview out of this one. I mean, 5th and final flashpoint, they could completely steal a game from St. Clair's. That would be a great occasion for them to be a part of as Florin. Death Blossom going to find Soaks. Firefly down, though, as well. But with Tread falling and Soaks on the Kiriko gone, Lucio, Redex cannot keep up the support that Tread needs, and now you ask yourself, right? I mean, Grandview, they're looking poised to make this one back as Noxious dancing in between, cannot quite find the shots on the Reaper, finally has the one that lands fully through, as now we'll be able to Reaper diff for this moment as Noxious just completely clearing point. Soaks comes back, finds a headshot of his own, and St. Clair, they're looking poised to at least take this point in their control. 27% all they gave Grandview is now this next team fight going to be so momentum based for St. Clair as you have 4 ults waiting in pocket.
You talked about Reaper diff in that situation, but that's just Noxious diff in that situation. You know, we know how much he loves the ego challenge, and that was a perfect opportunity to get that one done.
Take
Obviously,
your ones,
if it goes the opposite way, doesn't look good, but right now you need somebody from St. Clair to step up and make a big play. Noxious so far has been making some really impact picks for the Saints. This is a big point right here. I mean, you know, obviously this is the last of the series, but I think losing this map to Grandview really wouldn't be a good look for a team of St. Clair's caliber to drop one to Grandview. So you really want them to lock this one down and secure it. So far, they've done a good job. 3 ults to work with as well. Grandview going to be coming in hot for this last potential team push of this map, and there it is right there. But responses from Soaks and Redex going to keep the team alive, but Grandview able to C9 the point, get back on it. Now Saints in an awkward position, but Noxious still leading the charge for the Saints, is going to try and push in a little bit more. Four now caught between a rock and a hard place as he gets caught out. Firefly finding Tread. Big pick for Grandview as they still hold control of the point, contesting now as the rest of the Saints come crashing in. Noxious 3 percentiles away from his Death Blossom. He's going to be somebody to watch as this team fight comes to a climax.
Yeah, and again now, Tread switching over to the Doomfist. They know that they do not have the time to mess around here now, as they may have given Grandview a little bit too much space. They got a little too cocky, tried to drive into their spawn, and because of that, they C9 point. 8 seconds left to go, and it's going down very quickly. As now they're not even going to get back in time. The contest is able to happen, but as this overtime meter goes down, Grandview, can they potentially take one off of St. Clair? It's going to be 4 and gone, and now all of a sudden St. Clair, they can storm point a little bit. 1 on, and they're just kind of bouncing on and off, just making sure this overtime meter can come through. Noxious goes down, and with Redex gone as well, no more speed boost. Grandview, I think they're going to be able to have the assets to be able to do this now. Soaks Kitsune rush, but it just can't keep everyone up. He's so low. Tread almost going down as well, needs so much healing, but they have to vacate the point. Grandview, they're doing everything in their power. The Sombra switch from Florin as well is going to deny St. Clair the clean sweep. Grandview, get on the scoreboard.
Man, I thought that was going to swing the way of St. Clair. I mean, multiple attempts were made to steal that point away, but Grandview just able to hold it out and win. And once again, exposing the Saints' weaknesses on Flashpoint to a T. I mean, got to give it to Tread for being in there with Doomfist and just trying to delay as much as possible, but just not enough to get the job done as Juice getting swapped in now for Noxious. Not a good look. I mean, you know, you had that one in the bag. There are multiple opportunities to finish the job, and you just let Grandview hang around for too long, and they took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say. All credit to Grandview, but looking back on that one, Evan, St. Clair, you have 5th Flashpoint control, and you try to push Grandview back into their spawn. They let one go by the wayside, and they C9, and you're going to tell me that's how they go out in Flashpoint?
That's tough.
Discipline.
Yeah.
You need discipline big time. Because I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. For St. Clair, that is embarrassing. That is horrible. Should have never happened. And yes, while you may win the series, questions to be asked of yourselves, regardless.
Weaknesses are definitely being exposed right now, and we're watching these replays back multiple times. St. Clair had the point at 99 and just lose a team fight in the dumbest possible way.
I'm just saying, you're not gonna win NACE if that's your goal. You're definitely not gonna win NACE pulling some stuff like that, right? So I get it. You get a little too excited, but you need to be able to keep control. You need to have discipline. You cannot get cocky. Because at the end of the day, this is competition. It's not like the players on Grandview are bad by any standards. Would wash me and you completely out of the board. And I get it.
Absolutely.
We're not pro players, so we can't really make that comparison. But the whole point is, again, it's kind of like we said about Shawnee State and Rocket League earlier. These teams are filled with good players, no matter how you want to shape it. If you do stupid stuff, play stupid games, win stupid rewards. That's all I'm going to say. I can't really, screw around, find out. I can't really, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. St. Clair, outright dumb, in my opinion, for that.
Damn.
And you can say, okay, put them on, this is controversial, put them on blast. No, I'm going to put them on blast. Because that is absolutely idiotic for them to have let Grandview back in like that. And sure, you take the series, but for Flashpoint, gotta say, looking quite weak, in my opinion.
Some harsh words from Patrick Smoke Chambers after that performance. I mean, hopefully the team does not watch this VOD back. I mean, but like you said, I mean, everything you said was bang on. I mean, the weaknesses, yes, they have been exposed, but again, when you have a team of this caliber, you should be expected to rise above those issues. You know that you had struggles on Flashpoint against UTD. You should have taken extra time in scrims to practice that game mode, get your rotation set, figure out your comp, and again, everything was a beat behind what Grandview was throwing at them. And again, there shouldn't be surprises when Grandview is pulling out almost an exact copy of the comp that you're running. You should know exactly the type of gameplay that they want to have and want to run. And you're just not able to match that at all. And like you said, got outplayed when they really shouldn't have. These mental mistakes just adding up. Hopefully it won't put too much of a damper on the night. It doesn't look like it, as the team still seems in pretty high spirits, but just some work to do still. Like, the NACE season is still long. You do have more time to prepare for that ISU matchup. But the biggest thing to take away from this is those higher ranked teams, your Winthrops, your ISUs, they will not let you get away with those mistakes like that, especially when it's been put on tape twice now that you struggle in Flashpoint. It has to be a guarantee that those big teams are going to pick those maps to try and exploit those weaknesses.
But now, switching over to push, it is a different story for St. Clair. And yes, while we can put them on blast for their prior mistakes, at some point you have to move on. And St. Clair, they're well aware of this. Listen, at the same time you pointed out their mentality, it's good that the boys simply look good on desk. No one is mauling, no one's absolutely flipping out or crashing out, right? That's what we want, because at least we know that St. Clair are like, okay, that was a stupid play, but go next. And focus up, strap your boots in, and see if you can get this one done. That being said, push is also a game mode where we have seen St. Clair have some hiccups before. So now, it's going to be that very same comp that comes through for them, St. Clair. Kind of a base comp that we're used to seeing them run as Grandview, matching it completely and taking some meters as well. St. Clair, notably, they are not the ones who have pushed this robot further for now, as it's going to be on St. Clair to establish some meters back in the way.
Yeah, a bit of a slow start once again, but push is one of the few game modes where you actually can afford a slow start as long as you have a good response in the chamber. And right now, the Saints finally get control of the robot in a good position to at least get farther than what Grandview has offered thus far. So, but again, you just can't be making these mental mistakes. We know how much the Saints love to be aggressive and just push the spawn, like set these spawn traps up, but when you're in a mode like this where Grandview has been playing a lot better than what we started with and they can smell blood in the water, you have to make sure that you stay locked in at all times. And if you are going to be aggressive, you have to make sure that you at least have a backup plan or a way to rotate back in.
Yeah, it's now Grandview trying to see if they can just cheekily steal the robot back in their possession, and they're going to do just that as it now makes its way back on over. Rule of Kitsune rushes coming through, and regardless, yes, you can move that robot over to your side, but the second St. Clair, if they can continue finding picks and winning this team fight, they will take it right back. So no harm, no foul, -1 meter, as it's going to be Soaks to find 2 as well. St. Clair doing real good off that Kitsune rush exchange, and they come out on the other side victorious.
Well, you're lucky they won that team fight, because Grandview is able to find a couple more picks there, they would have been able to get into a much better position on their half of the map, but St. Clair thankfully able to come out on top and have 5 ults to work with as well, so they can afford to be a little bit more aggressive here on this push. I'd like to see them try and push the issue. You have Treads, Graviton Surge, that's going to be a really big catalyst for this next fight. Razor's Pulse Bomb as well, Juice, you know, you can do as much as you want. You have Red X's beat drop in the back pocket as well to potentially save something, you know, like this Firefly overcharge that's going to come in. And once again, Grandview just hanging around in these team fights. These ults coming through for St. Clair. Not going to find as many picks as they were looking for. Still pushing the robot though. Tread keeping it going for St. Clair. Razor still having his Pulse Bomb in hand. Red X, big beat drop to save the team as well. But if you look at the side of Grandview, Santana's ult just about to be online. So you know they got a response waiting in the wings.
Yeah, it's now St. Clair looking real good as it seems like they've definitely locked in these past couple of minutes as getting that robot through, crossing the 100-meter threshold, and now going to be very hard for Grandview to find progress as that timer is starting to become an element as well, potentially, if St. Clair can hold up with any good defenses. Should Grandview ever, in the event of taking over, start to form their own meters, is now St. Clair 2 ults on the table, especially a Kitsune Rush. So even if you face pressure and you think that things are going to go awry, you always have that Kitsune Rush to fall back on. Red X going to fall for here, and if Shred ever got to a poor situation, I would imagine that's when you would see Soaks pop that, as now getting potentially low on health is going to go down as well, and Kitsune Rush of Solum goes through as now all of a sudden Grandview doing good off the pick of Tread to make sure that St. Clair trickle die, and now they finally have possession of our good robot friend.
And that's just patience on the side of Grandview there, just waiting for the right moment, waiting for that Red X pick to come through. Once they see that, that's when Santana like turns it up. You saw how aggressive he was being against Tread, getting right up in his face, you know, meleeing, you know, using those big bubble blasts to do extra damage. I mean, that's what we saw on Flashpoint, like how aggressive that Grandview is being. They're not afraid to fight St. Clair up close, as now Tread gonna bubble himself to save himself from that Pulse Bomb. But once again, Grandview trying to be super aggressive, and it starts with Florin. I mean, Florin just, oh, what the hell happened with Santana? I mean, that might have been a Red X boot potentially, or something to get them off the map, but the Saints will take it. I mean, that's a big pick that comes through in their favor, and the robot now, in what could have been a disastrous turn of events, is going to potentially mitigate that damage, as now Santana having to get back into the fight. Just a bit bizarre. I really would like to see how that ended up happening, but like you said, the Saints do not care. They'll take it either way. I
mean, it's unfortunate, but again, for St. Clair, right? We don't question it.
No,
we just take it. Hey, listen, that's on you. That's on you, Santana. That's ain't on me. But now Red X finding the next pick as well is going to push St. Clair ever so closer to taking this one away. And you know, you have to be a little bit careful now as you get very close. Obviously, it's going to be even harder to find more meters, as now Grandview are going to be very close to the spawn. But that is a massive pick and well worth the Graviton Surge as well to pick off Santana, as now you can slowly back away Grandview, find any more picks to stagger them out, as St. Clair just completely dog-walking Grandview in their own spawn, as robot getting so close. 1 meter left, and that will be all she wrote for that series. St. Clair, they show blunders on Flashpoint, but they sure as hell know how to bounce back as they take the series in 3-1 fashion versus Grandview.
Yeah, you really have to think that the Saints took that loss on Flashpoint a little bit personally. There was a bit more bite involved in those final team fights. I mean, you really saw how aggressive they wanted to be. And Grandview, they had a chance to maybe live, but that beat drop from Cinnabar just coming in a little too slow, just a half second too late to potentially save the team. I mean, if Santana stays alive, I think that might have been a little different for Grandview, but not to be, as St. Clair, like we said, some blunders on Flashpoint once again, but they are still able to get the job done. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and once again, the Saints winning it in Game 4 3-1 the scoreline. But excellent work from Grandview to make it somewhat competitive, at least on Flashpoint.
Yeah, as again, we saw St. Clair really turn it up to another level here on push. This was such a huge team fight through both Kitsune rushes as well. Gave St. Clair that second point, that near spawn as a result. And again, Juice just in a little bit of a close encounter. Again, I really do like that Santana was playing so aggressively onto Tread. Again, Grandview not willing to back down easy, but once St. Clair kind of got momentum, they sort of realized what was working, and through their Grandview, they weren't able to really bounce back.
Yeah, I think that right there is what really started the ultra lock-in that we started. Tread being able to live through that Graviton Surge ultimate really started to push the pace in St. Clair's favor, and that's really when the floodgates began to open up here, and the reason they got this far. And we called it out earlier, that beat drop from Cinnabar just a little too late to potentially save Santana from getting just bullied by everybody on the St. Clair side. And once you lose your tank when you're so close to your spawn, that is just absolutely disastrous. And that's how St. Clair was able to get the job done at the very end there and just stay the course after, like we said, a bit of a disastrous Flashpoint map, but it shows a lot of strength and character in the team that they're able to, you know, take that loss on Flashpoint and then turn it into something positive right after.
Absolutely, and as I'm hearing right now, Prod telling me that we have Robin, our good head coach here, for the post-game interview. Robin, how you feeling after taking care of Grandview 3-1 fashion?
I'm feeling pretty good. Really happy with our success in the season so far. Yeah.
I will point out, right, a little bit of a throw there on Flashpoint. It's not the first time we've seen you guys show struggles. You being the head coach, what does the team have to do in order to get better in Flashpoint? Because we can clearly tell whether it's you guys just trolling or just miscommunications. Something is obviously going wrong if you're losing it twice in a row in NACE, unless you can say your piece. I'm very curious to see
Yeah, of course. I'm trying to adopt, like, you know, I have a very versatile roster. I'm trying to make sure my roster, especially in the early season, we're trying to figure out our strengths and weaknesses as much as possible. So when we are up against, like, formidable opponents, I think it's a good strategic choice to see what strategies work out for us. And clearly, what we're cooking up for Saravasa and other Flashpoints maybe needs a little bit more time, maybe a little bit of time to look at. Maybe we got to go back to the drawing board. But, you know, at the end of the day, my confidence doesn't waver from these great players that I get to coach every single day. So, you know, just is what it is.
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, listen, it's good to point out struggles, and I'm glad to hear the response that you have. Very well answered, my friend. Is, again, sure, these are things we need to address, but at the same time, that is only one game in a best-of-5 series, and you guys, for the rest of it, seem pretty strong and on your toes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think even to add on to that question, you know, like you said, dropping Flashpoint, you know, it was really close. You guys had an opportunity to close it out, weren't able to do it. Going into map 4, what are you telling the team to sort of bring them back after a loss like that, especially when it's a bit tough?
I mean, like I said, my group of guys, like, you know, the culture that we have here, I don't really need to steer the ship too much. We kind of have, like, we've kind of gone through this so many times before. We already have, like, everything that we need, and they kind of just pick themselves back. I'm like, all right, guys, whatever, who cares, right? Let's just move on to the next one. You know, we're really, we have a lot of unwavering confidence in our ability, and I'm really glad to see them being able to do that by themselves, you know, especially because I've been here, this is my 3rd year. I've worked with the main core, you know, with Red X and Razor, Noxious and Soaks as well, and it's nice to see, you know, like how much they've improved and grown, not only as players, but as people over time. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, you talk about how much you have confidence in your roster, and you have so many, like, good pieces on this team. Like, it's such a well-built team. But looking at tonight, is there anybody tonight that really stood out to you that made a big play, or is there a moment that somebody, you know, maybe made a play that, like, maybe swung a map? Like, who was your big impact player on the team tonight?
I'm going to have to give it to Tread. The dude is a monster. He tries really hard. He's up every day in the morning scrimming with Genji. Then he makes time to VOD with me. And then he makes time to scrim and also come to matches. Dude's an absolute monster. Absolutely have to give it to him.
Absolutely. And just, you know, one more to close out the night, right? Is there any way we can pull comms on your side from tonight? Because I know we got Soaks and Red X on the same squad for this as the support duo. So, you know, how are the comms overall, Robin? If you just 1 to 10 based on entertainment level.
I'm going to be honest, sometimes it's hard to do my job when I just want to pay attention to what they're saying. They're always cracking jokes. It could be mid-fight, and they're just they're making the dumbest jokes ever. You know, like I said, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, my guys have like been around the block quite a little bit. They already know, like, you know, how to pick themselves back up, and they like to enjoy themselves while they do it. Kind of remnants of Dill Ducks, of course, but you know, when we're in the facility, when it's time to like put our heads down and lock in, they 100% lock in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we saw that in Game 4 and for the rest of the series tonight. So thank you so much, Robin. We look forward to calling more of your team's matches, and congratulations on the W.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely is. Now, that's going to do it for us here at the desk, Evan. But again, I just got to say, it was an absolute pleasure casting once more with you. But it's going to be St. Clair as we just recap over taking a win 3-1 over Shawnee for NACE RLC or RL. Almost said RLCS. Oof. And for Overwatch NACE as well, it's going to be St. Clair taking the W over Grandview again in 3-1 fashion. We like 3-1s, I guess, today. This is just how it goes.
I guess so. I guess that was what the teams decided was going to be the most entertaining for the stream. But yeah, no, the Saints doing a good job on the doubleheader once again and proving, you know, St. Clair dominant in multiple different esports. But, you know, great showing from both teams tonight. I think a lot to be proud of on all ends.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I think that is going to do it for us on the desk tonight. So we want to thank everybody, the fans, the viewers, for showing up, showing out. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do and for taking entertainment in that. Thank you to the players and the coaches for competing on a grand stage such as NACE and collegiate competitions. Thank you to everybody in the back room. There's a lot of you, so I'm just going to go and name off Adam, Owen, Carl, Adrian as well. If I'm forgetting anybody, please prod in my ear, let me know. But I think that is everyone, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh, of course, I think Hayden as well, right?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna.
How could I forget about Hayden
but...
Phaser King?
Wow,
that's my fault.
Disrespectful.
My bad.
But I think you did get everybody, unless somebody is slipped through the cracks.
If I'm told different, then I will definitely make sure to shout them out.
They're not saying anything, so I think
I think we might be all good.
Speak now or forever hold your peace, I think, in this situation. But Patrick, you did forget.
I didn't forget anything. I was going to get on to that.
Right.
I was thinking, speaking of people that I am not going to forget to thank. Thank you to our sponsors as well for keeping the lights on in this place, allowing us to do what we do. That's going to be Tim Hortons, Subway, Alienware, the SRC, the SEC Alumni Association, Onezo, and also Pre-Fire. Thank you so much, our lovely sponsors. And Evan, what do we say? Thank you, sponsors. That's going to do it on the desk. But for now, it's been me, Patrick Smoke Chambers, and Evan Johnson, and we will catch you, Saints Nation, next time.
Rotation was for Cumberland, but St. Clair breaks through. Oh, gaining lead. We're hacking back. Situation now 1-on-1, 1 HP on this solo. 1 bullet is a 4-person 1v5. Stand against the rest.
Guy to this ball, guy to get down, maybe even get one for the road.
Our own standards here in this overtime period, because if we concede a goal, it's over for them.
He's doing a lot of damage, but he's got to keep you over. He avoids Ego. Bob Waena, no flash, no problem. St. Clair.
Yo, MP.
Yeah, no, this map is actually crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Waterman.
Yo, Chris God, what the hell are you doing, bro? We got a match, bro. You're late.
Yo, I gotta go.
Yo, log in,
Yo,
bro.
I gotta go. Now I'm good.